Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The war between humans and the Vel'arans had raged for 7 long years. The Vel'arans, tall, feline-like aliens with golden eyes and shimmering fur, were known across the stars as proud warriors who never bowed to any other race. Humans, on the other hand, had built their strength through intelligence and persistence. When the human frigate Dauntless captured a single Vel'aran ship drifting near the edge of Jupiter's orbit, the soldiers found something unusual inside: a wounded commander, still alive, clutching a broken weapon. Her name was Sael'ra, the youngest war leader of her kind. Even injured, she looked like she could rip through steel if provoked. The base commander ordered her to be kept alive for questioning. And that was how Eli Kane, a human engineer, got dragged into the story. The cold encounter. Eli wasn't a soldier. He fixed ships, not prisoners. But since he was one of the few who knew how to handle alien tech and biology, the commander assigned him to check Sael'ra's wounds. The moment Eli entered the holding bay, he felt her glare on him like a knife. She sat upright in her restraining chair, bound by glowing energy cuffs, her fur matted with dried blood. Her golden eyes narrowed, scanning him as if calculating 1,000 ways to kill him. "Don't touch me, human," she hissed, her voice low and sharp. Eli didn't flinch. He'd seen worse looks before. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said simply. "But if I don't clean those wounds, infection will do it for me." She turned her head away, refusing to answer. Her tail flicked behind her like a warning whip. Eli sighed and began preparing a sterile kit. "Suit yourself. I'll just sit here until you get tired of bleeding on the floor." Her ears twitched at the tone, calm, unimpressed. Most humans trembled before her kind. This one didn't. That annoyed her even more. After a minute, she muttered, "Do your work. But keep your hands away from my ears." "Wasn't planning on a haircut," Eli said dryly, kneeling beside her. When his hand brushed near her neck, she stiffened. Her muscles were hard as stone. The moment his fingers accidentally grazed one of her pointed ears, she hissed sharply and jerked away. "Do that again and I'll rip off your arm." Eli didn't even look up. "Noted," he said, continuing his work. For the first time in her life, someone treated her threats like background noise. The uneasy alliance. Over the next few days, Eli was ordered to keep her stable. The Vel'arans were known for rapid recovery, but her wounds weren't healing right. A strange infection spread through the veins near her shoulder, glowing faintly beneath the skin. Man medicine couldn't treat it, but human touch could help regulate her neural system. The irony was cruel. She needed the touch of the species she hated. Each session, she tried to remain silent, but her reactions betrayed her. When Eli's gloved fingers pressed against the infected area, her breath caught. When he spoke gently to distract her, her ears tilted toward his voice, betraying instinct. "You act like you're not in pain," Eli said one day. "But your body disagrees." "I am not weak," she snapped. "Never said you were," he replied softly. "You're just alive." That silence that followed felt heavier than words. He kept his distance when he wasn't treating her, but she started watching him from her cell. She saw how he worked long hours fixing broken drones, never complaining, never boasting. He even refused special meals, saying, "Food tastes better when you've earned it." It confused her. Humans were supposed to be loud, arrogant, greedy, yet this one moved through life with quiet purpose. The moment of weakness one evening, Sael'ra's infection flared up. Her body shook with fever, and her claws dug into the chair to hide the pain. Eli rushed in, scanning her vitals. "Your neural current's spiking again," he said. "I have to stabilize it." She hissed weakly. "Don't touch my ears." "I'm not trying to make you comfortable," Eli said, reaching for her head. "I'm trying to keep you alive." He pressed his palm near the base of her ear, the neural center that connected her to her body's energy flow. She gasped sharply, claws slashing the air, but then her body relaxed. Her breathing slowed. Her golden eyes fluttered half-closed. Eli froze, realizing she was leaning slightly into his hand. "See," he whispered. "It helps." Her tail flicked once, then she turned her head away quickly. "You tricked me," she said, her voice trembling with something that wasn't anger. Eli pulled his hand back. "I'll stop if you want." But she didn't say a word. When he looked up again, her eyes were already closed, not in sleep, but in silent defeat. The night of storms. That night, alarms didn't ring. The base slept. Eli, still awake, checked the systems from his quarters. He heard a soft sound through the comm, a faint, strangled cry from the prisoner's room. he ran to the holding bay. Sael'ra was thrashing in her sleep, caught in a nightmare. "Get away, don't touch them," she shouted in her own tongue. Her claws tore at invisible enemies. Eli rushed in and grabbed her wrists before she hurt herself. "Hey, wake up, it's just a dream," he said firmly. Her eyes snapped open, wild, glowing gold. For a second, she didn't recognize him. Then something in her gaze softened. Her breathing slowed. Her hands, still trembling, relaxed in his grip. Quote, "Eli," she whispered, as if testing the sound of his name. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe. It's over." Without thinking, he brushed her hair aside, and his fingers grazed the edge of her ear again. She flinched, but didn't pull away. Instead, her entire body seemed to unwind, her claws retracting. He froze, realizing she was leaning into his touch like someone seeking warmth in the dark. Her voice was barely audible. "Your touch, it calms the storm." He blinked, unsure he heard right. "What did you say?" Her golden eyes opened slowly, catching the dim light. "I said nothing," she murmured quickly, pulling back and turning away. "Leave me, I need rest." Eli hesitated, then nodded. "All right, I'll check your vitals in the morning." As he walked toward the door, she whispered something so soft even the room barely caught it, "Don't go." But when he turned, she was silent again, pretending to sleep. The change begins. Days passed. The infection vanished. Sael'ra was stronger now, pacing her cell like a caged predator. Yet her eyes followed Eli whenever he entered. Once, she asked, "Why do you serve your commanders? You are not made for war." "Maybe," he said, "but someone has to clean up after it." That answer seemed to stay in her mind longer than it should. The next day, she asked something stranger. "Why do humans touch so easily? Do you not fear connection?" Eli smiled faintly. "Fear it? No, we crave it. Makes the universe less lonely." Sael'ra turned away, pretending she didn't care, but her ears twitched, betraying her curiosity. The cliffhanger that night, the silence of the base shattered. Red alarms flashed through the corridors. Explosions rocked the walls as comm officers shouted into radios. Eli grabbed his jacket and ran to the command deck. "What's happening?" he yelled. "The Vel'aran fleet," the captain shouted. "They've found us." Eli froze. His eyes darted toward the prisoner bay. Sael'ra, if her people were attacking, it meant one thing. She had been sending a signal all along. Had she used him? He raced down the corridor, heart pounding. Smoke filled the air. Lights flickered. He reached her cell, only to find the door open. Sael'ra stood there, no longer bound. Her energy cuffs lay broken on the floor, her golden eyes burning bright. Eli raised his weapon instinctively. "Sael'ra, what have you done?" She stared back at him, expression unreadable. Her voice was calm. "You think I called them here to kill you, didn't you?" he demanded. She stepped closer, and in the flash of red light from the alarms, he saw something in her eyes. Not anger, not hate, something else. "I came here as a prisoner," she said quietly. "But now I have to decide whether I stay as your enemy." Before he could answer, the wall shook again. The sound of heavy plasma fire filled the base. She looked toward the blast door, then back at him. "Eli," she said softly. "Do you trust me?" He hesitated. "Should I?" The room's lights flickered once more, and her tail flicked behind her as she turned to face the chaos outside. "Then stay behind me," she said. "If my people come through that door, they'll have to get through me first." The walls of the human base trembled as explosions tore through the outer shields. Sirens screamed across the corridors. The Vel'aran fleet was closing in fast, dozens of warships surrounding the human stronghold like a silver storm. Eli stood frozen in front of the escaped prisoner, Commander Sael'ra, once his enemy, now a wild card he couldn't predict. Her golden eyes burned in the flashing red light. "Stay behind me, human," she said again, her voice sharp and steady. "Your soldiers will shoot first and ask later." "Not if I talk to them," Eli said quickly. She tilted her head, her ears flicking. "You think words can stop plasma?" "No," he replied, meeting her eyes. "But I think you can." For a moment, neither moved. Then, with a sigh that almost sounded like defeat, Sael'ra turned toward the hallway. "Follow me," she said. "And try not to die." The escape and the truth, they ran together through the chaos. The base shook around them as fighter ships screeched past the windows. Human soldiers shouted orders, unaware that the alien commander they hunted was now trying to save them. Eli followed her through maintenance tunnels he thought only engineers knew. She moved fast, graceful and precise, as if she had memorized every turn. "How do you know these paths?" he asked between breaths. She glanced back. "You're not the only one who studies your enemies." They stopped near the main power core. The blue light from the reactor bathed her face. Her eyes softened, just for a moment. "I didn't call my fleet," she said suddenly. "They tracked my signal after I was captured." Eli frowned. "So they're here to rescue you?" "Yes," she said, "but your commander doesn't know that. He will fire everything he has. And my people will destroy this base in return." Eli looked at her, realization hitting him. "Then both sides die." She nodded quietly. "Unless someone stops it." The choice through the comms, the base commander's voice boomed, "All units prepare to fire. Target their flagship. No mercy." Sael'ra's fur bristled. Her people would take that as an act of war. Eli grabbed her arm. "There's still time. You can talk to them. Tell them to stand down." She looked at him as if weighing his soul. "They won't listen. To them, I'm a captive. A shame." "Then make them listen," Eli said. "You're their commander. They'll obey your voice." Her golden eyes met his, searching for doubt. Instead, she found only belief. "Humans are strange," she whispered. "You trust even when logic says you shouldn't." "Maybe that's why we survive," Eli said. "We keep believing, even when the galaxy tells us not to." The plan. They climbed to the communications deck, the heart of the base. It was half destroyed, wires hanging from the ceiling. Eli reconnected power lines while Sael'ra adjusted the frequency manually, her claws moving with practiced skill. A low rumble shook the walls again. The commander's voice shouted through the intercom, "Engineering. Why haven't you rerouted power to weapons?" Eli ignored it. He glanced at Sael'ra. "Ready?" She hesitated, her hand hovering over the console. "If I do this," she said softly, "they will know I stood with humans. I'll lose my rank, my honor, or," Eli said gently, "you'll save both our species." For a long moment, she didn't move. Then she pressed the button. The broadcast, her voice echoed across every Vel'aran channel. "This is Commander Sael'ra of the Vel'aran fleet. Cease fire immediately." The alien voices on the other end paused. Confused chatter filled the air. "Commander, you are alive. We are rescuing you. Stand by for extraction." "Negative," she said firmly. "You will not fire on the humans. They showed mercy when we did not. That is dishonor." A voice growled. "They captured you. They saved me," she snapped back. "And I saved them. Any who continue this attack defy me." Silence filled the comm. Then, slowly, one by one, Vel'aran ships began to withdraw. The human command deck erupted in confusion. What the hell just happened? Someone shouted. Eli smiled faintly. Peace happened. The price of peace. The battle ended, but the base was in ruins. Fires burned across the corridors. Sael'ra stood beside Eli, her body bruised, fur singed, yet her posture proud. "You could have let it happen," he said quietly. "You could have gone home as a hero." She looked at him, "And live with the blood of the only human who ever treated me like more than a monster." "No." Before he could reply, a sharp alarm cut through the silence. The power core had been damaged, and it was about to explode. Eli's eyes widened. "We have to leave." Sael'ra looked toward the reactor. "If it goes critical, it will wipe out everything for 10 kilometers. There's no time to evacuate." She turned to him. "Then go. I'll stop it." He shook his head. "You'll die." Her golden eyes softened. "Maybe honor isn't about winning battles. Maybe it's about knowing when to let go." She stepped toward the reactor, but Eli grabbed her hand. "Not alone," he said. "We fix it together." For a heartbeat, she hesitated, then nodded once. The last stand. Inside the reactor chamber, heat shimmered like a burning sun. Sparks flew from broken conduits. Eli crawled under a console, reconnecting circuits with trembling hands. Sael'ra used her claws to stabilize the main core, holding it steady with all her strength. Energy arced through the room, scorching the walls. "Now," Eli shouted, "link the flow regulator." She reached for it, but the pressure was too much. Her arm trembled, the heat burning through her fur. "Eli," she gasped. Without thinking, he moved beside her, placing his hand over hers to help. Their skin, human and alien, pressed together against the blinding light. The core's hum slowed, the temperature dropped, the explosion faded into silence. They collapsed together on the floor, the emergency lights flickering above them. For a long time, neither spoke. Just breathing, alive. Finally, Eli turned his head toward her. "Told you we'd fix it together." She looked at him, eyes soft, tail twitching faintly. You're impossible. Maybe, he said, smiling weakly. But you like that. She gave a low, rumbling sound, something between a sigh and a purr. When he reached up to brush her ear, she didn't pull away. Instead, she leaned closer. Her voice was barely a whisper. Don't stop. The morning after, hours later, rescue teams arrived. The war had ended before it could begin. Sael'ra was taken to her people's embassy under human protection. Eli was commended for preventing a galactic disaster, though he never took credit alone. Weeks passed. Peace talks began, and one quiet evening, as the stars glittered above the rebuilt base, Sael'ra appeared at Eli's workshop. She stood at the doorway, tail swaying slowly. You still work too much, she said softly. Eli chuckled. You still sneak up on people. She stepped closer, the golden light of the tools reflected in her eyes. I told my people, she said, that humans are dangerous, but kind. Curious, but brave. He smiled. And what did they say? They said I sound infected. They both laughed quietly. After a pause, she sat beside him, close enough that their shoulders brushed. Her ear flicked toward his hand. You could, she murmured, if you wanted, scratch again. Eli blinked, pretending not to understand. What, now you want me to? Her gaze softened. Don't mock me, human. It's relaxing. He grinned and reached up, gently brushing behind her ear. She closed her eyes, letting out a quiet hum that almost sounded like peace itself. For a long while, neither spoke. The universe outside their window kept spinning, two species learning to share the same stars. Epilogue. Later that night, as Eli turned off the lights, she said quietly, your touch, it calms the storm. He looked back at her, smiling. That's foo. NNY, he said. Because you make me feel the same. She smiled faintly, her tail curling around his arm. Then maybe, she whispered, we've both found our peace. The end.